Happy New Year, guys! I am so excited about this year. Welcome into 2026. I wanted to start the year by sharing something a little bit more reflective, the beauty habits and techniques that actually worked for me last year and that I'm taking into this new year. I'm not talking about the trends or like the hyped up stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that actually has worked on me. And maybe we'll throw in a few bits that actually didn't work and I personally didn't like it, so I'm not going to actually take it into this year. They're just kind of like the things that really made a difference to my makeup look, to how I felt, and just generally how my base and my skin felt and lasted through the days. You've heard me mention already that when you're in your 40s, your skin changes and therefore your makeup needs to change with it. And being 45, I just cannot believe I'm turning 46 this year. That's crazy to me. But being 45 and having 5 years in my 40s, honestly, my skin has not stayed the same every year. It's changed every single year. And with that, there are certain techniques that don't necessarily work on me anymore. This previous year, I've really found that I've figured out what is currently working. God knows when that's going to change. I'm sure pretty soon, but I just want to share with you all the bits that actually are working. Let's talk about the first one, the power of actually simplifying your skincare routine, because that's something I definitely did last year and it has been such a game changer for me. The first shift I think I made that really helped my skin in general, especially in my 40s, was cutting out all the rubbish from my skincare, taking out unnecessary noise. And what I mean by that are ingredients that are a little bit too much for my skin. I think I got to a point where maybe I was like a bit heavy-handed with the amount that I use of products and ingredients, and also the kind of ingredients that I incorporated into my routine. And I feel like I'm not the only one who's guilty of that. I think we've all been there where we've maybe just thought, maybe just a little bit more exfoliation, or maybe I'll try this new like trending ingredient that everyone's talking about because, oh my God, it's like an exfoliating product and it just really clears my skin. It's going to get all the dead skin off. And sometimes we can go a little bit OTT with those things. And I definitely did my fair share of that as well at the beginning of last year. So this is something I'm definitely taking into 2026. It's keeping my skincare minimized. I used to layer so many different like products on my skin back in the day. And I feel like that can be detrimental in one way because you are just overloading your skin and there's only so much your skin can take. And honestly, we're not made for all these ingredients, like so many of them, to be put on all at once. It's really a little bit too much for our skin. So now I focus on fewer products with fewer ingredients, and that has really helped my skin. It doesn't mean I've completely cut out anything which is like an active for my skin. I use tretinoin, but everything else that I use is so gentle on my skin. That has helped massively for my skin. My skin is calmer, it's clearer, and even having used tretinoin, it's definitely less reactive now. And that's not due to the tretinoin, that is due to keeping everything so kind of like gentle and very minimal on my skin, because I'm kind of cushioning it with a lot of hydration and just calming ingredients. I look for ingredients which are very calming for my skin. I do have a few Korean products that I've kind of incorporated into my skincare routine that I actually really love. I'm not fully like, you know, however many steps of Korean skincare, not at all. I just have got the ones that I feel that I need. So my morning routine is literally just, let me just check. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps if I count my face wash in that as well, right? And that's it. And that's actually pretty minimal. I have a serum after my face wash, which is full of peptides, but it's also very calming. And it's also something that a lot of people over on the Beauty Breakfast Club, my online publication, which is all about beauty, skincare, health, mindset, wellness, a lot of the people as part of that community have actually bought this product and they swear by it now. And honestly, their comments are all on there. And if you haven't subscribed to that yet, you need to. There is a new newsletter every 2 days that I write personally. Everything on there is written by me. It is a very, very kind of close-knit community. We have over I know it doesn't sound close-knit, there's over 7,000 people as part of this community. Honestly, so many of them know each other so well now, and that's because they opted for the paid version. So the free version gives you access to some of the site, the paid version unlocks the entire site and actually lets you join the group chat, which is this amazing community of people who love everything to do with beauty and they're out to just become more confident, more motivating to themselves and others around them, and inspiring, and we're all helping each other out with beauty dilemmas and stuff. You can even ask me questions directly and I'll answer them because I'm in that group. And so many of them have actually started using this and they absolutely love it. This is the COSRX, the 6 Peptide Skin Booster. And it is an amazing product. It's super calming. It's not full of actives. It's a Korean brand and it's not even ridiculously priced the way that a lot of kind of luxury brands are. So you are welcome. And then I have my moisturizer, which is also a Korean brand, and that is my P.CALM Cato Cream, which is really gentle on the skin. And then I also have my SPF, and currently that still is my 111 Skin SPF 50. And then I have my eye cream, which I'm just trying to finish this off before I move on to a new one. And this is the MAC Hyper Real Serumizer Eye Treatment. It's okay, not exactly transformational, but I am going to be switching to a different eye cream and see how that goes. But I do like to give it enough time before I tell you whether something works. I'm not going to be able to give you a review after using it for a week, you know, so I'm keeping it real. Everything is very real on this channel. So yeah, that's my skincare routine. Like, I really keep everything very minimal. So even my nighttime routine is my tretinoin and then a moisturizer on top, and that's it, you know. So I don't even have like a 5-6 step routine in the evening. It's literally a 3-step routine and that's it. That's something I'm going to be moving into the new year with, and it's because it's worked so well on me and it's been amazing for my skin, especially going into my 40s. I would say that I have not had skin like this for a very, very long time. And to be able to say that in my 40s is rare, I think. And that's why I swear by this routine now. It's been a complete game changer for me. To be able to say that my skin is better now than what it was in my 30s is insane to me. So yeah, if you have liked this video so far, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so you don't miss my next video, because those little things actually make a huge difference to my channel. So I would really appreciate it. Right, the next technique that I started doing last year, and I'm definitely going to be continuing it into this new year, is the setting spray sponge technique. So I don't actually know what to call this, but basically prior to last year, I would say at the beginning of last year, and prior to that, I used to always wet my sponge with water and let it double in size and use it damp, right? So I'd squeeze all the water out and then wrap a tissue around it, and then it would be damp and it would be double the size, and that's how I would use it to buff in my concealer. I actually only use my beauty blender for concealer. I don't use it for foundation. Now what I do is I don't actually wet it with water unless I'm washing it. I actually use my setting spray, which is my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. And I swear by this technique because it has been so good for my skin. Not just my skin, but for my base more so. Like, I feel like what it does is it really helps to keep the beauty blender as damp as it needs to be. And it's less time consuming. I don't have to stand there with the sponge under the running water waiting for it to double in size, you know. Every time I use it, I can just literally sit here, spray once or twice, and then we're done. It doesn't need to double in size once I've sprayed it with this, you know. So I feel like that's a technique that's really worked for my concealer, because it actually helps the concealer to almost kind of like just fixate there a little bit better. I'm not going to say it helps to last longer, because I don't believe setting sprays actually work that way, but it does help to almost kind of like, it's just the perfect amount of dampness that actually does help to kind of keep everything in place. And also the fact that setting sprays are generally infused with hydrating properties, so I feel like you're really getting that extra bit of goodness from it too. So that's something I'm definitely going to continue. I way prefer it than actually wetting the sponge with water. So every time you see me use my sponge, I spray it with that. I don't actually wet it beforehand or anything like that. I even actually noticed that my concealer looks less cakey by using the setting spray technique on my sponge rather than using water. I don't know what it is that does that, but that's just how I felt. Another habit that I did a lot last year, and I'm definitely going to be continuing to do it, is underpainting my glow. And what I mean by that is underpainting is basically when you apply products underneath your foundation. And underpainting my glow was actually using my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, but underneath my foundation. Now, there are various different ways that you can use this glow. You can mix it in with your foundation on the back of your hand and then apply it for that like kind of really glowy look to your foundation. You can apply it on top of your foundation by putting it onto the peaks of your features, or you could apply it, like I said, in the underpainting technique. So you apply it all over your face before your foundation. And that's what I was doing a lot last year. And it was amazing. I absolutely love the finish it gives me. I had so many compliments every time I wear that base. So with this underneath my foundation, I get a lot of compliments on my base. And I also noticed that on camera and in pictures, it looks very kind of radiant. And I love that. Radiant without the greasiness. So I really love that look, and I'm definitely going to be continuing to do that. And I hope you try it too. And I just want to add that I do actually put that on everywhere, like everywhere on my face, not my eye area obviously, but everywhere on my face before I put my foundation on. And I just kind of like not rub it, but smooth it out with a brush. Now, if you want, you could kind of, I would say, have a different way of applying it underneath. So for example, if you don't want to apply it everywhere, just apply it to all the peaks of your areas, like the peaks of your cheekbone, your chin, maybe a little bit on your forehead, and then put it on. So be a bit more strategic with your application before you apply a foundation, because that way you're only getting it where you want it. Whereas I actually prefer to put it all over, and I love that look that it gives me. So my next technique, which I have been doing for the longest time, so I'm definitely still taking this into 2026, is the no bake baking technique. Now, what this means is basically doing a part bake. So you've heard of the baking technique where you basically press the powder into your skin and then you basically let it sit there, you let it bake, and then you kind of dust the powder off. Well, I only do part of this technique, and I've said this for a very, very long time, that I prefer to press it in with the powder puff the same way you do when you're about to bake with your powder, but then I like to dust it off immediately. I don't let it sit there, I don't let it bake. So I do the no bake technique, and that is working amazing for me. It has always worked amazing for me. I don't feel like I actually need to let it sit there, because that just makes my skin feel drier. It looks drier, it looks cakey, it enhances my fine lines and my crepiness, and it's not what I want. But by doing the no bake technique, which is pressing it in with the powder puff and dusting it off immediately, I'm actually really locking my base in. But because I'm dusting it off immediately, I'm not enhancing any of the texture, any of the kind of crepiness, the fine lines, the wrinkles. I'm immediately taking it off and not letting it just dry out my skin and shrivel my skin up. You could also be very strategic with your no bake technique. You could, for example, only do this routine, this technique on your under eyes, and then everywhere else just use a powder brush and just dust on the powder. So it doesn't mean you have to do it everywhere, but try this technique because it honestly is amazing, and you never know, it might actually work for you. Now again, I don't really go into the powder with a puff and go directly on my skin. I always really press the puff into the back into my hand, into the palm of my hand, to get the powder really into the puff before I actually touch my skin. So you shouldn't really be left with a whole load of powder looking really obvious on your skin before you even dust it off. Another technique that I do, which I'm definitely going to be continuing, is melting my powder in. So right at the end, once I've actually powdered my face, sometimes I don't have the time to let it settle down and make it look more skin-like. What I mean by that is when you first set your face with powder, especially with the no bake technique, you are going to look kind of a little bit kind of overly matte or maybe a little bit powdery initially, because it takes time for your natural oils in your skin to come out. When your natural oils start to come out in your skin, that's when your base starts to look a little bit more lived in and a little bit more kind of like settled down. It's not so, I've just done my makeup, you know? And that can be different for each person. For me, it usually takes roughly around like an hour or so for my natural oils to come out. For someone else, it might take 20 minutes. It depends on what your skin type is like. So because sometimes I have done my makeup and then I want to go straight into something, like maybe meet someone straight away, I don't want to look so powdery and like matte. I usually get a setting spray, either my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray or my Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Setting Spray. And I just basically spray it all over from afar, and then that melts the powder into my skin so that I immediately just look like my makeup is just lived in a little bit more, you know? So it kind of speeds up that little process that usually you would just let it sit there for a little while. It speeds it up so it looks like it's already settled down. Let's talk about what I'm actually leaving behind in 2025, and I'm not going to be bringing it into 2026. Maybe it might, you know, maybe I will do it here and there, but it's definitely not in my everyday routine for 2026. Number one is actually ditching the powder blush. And like I said, not completely. Maybe if I've been sent certain things, you'll see me try it. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm never going to use powder blush again. But generally for my own personal day-to-day makeup looks when I'm not filming, I actually love cream blushes. So I'm going to stay away from the powder blushes. But like I said, I film for you guys on this channel, so it would be wrong of me to just ditch certain things completely and then you don't get a chance to really see and hear what the review is like for those things. So if you see me using powder blushes on this channel in 2026, it's probably because I just want to show you guys what it looks like, and maybe the brand sent it to me, and you know, I just want to be very educational and informative to you guys, because I still understand there are a lot of people who use powder blush and I still will be using it on my channel to show you guys. But for my own personal look for day to day, I'm probably not going to use powder blush as much, just purely because my skin is aging, I'm aging, and I want to stay away from powdery products. The only powdery product I really want to have to rely on is honestly just my setting powder, and that's it. And the same goes for powder highlighter. I can't even remember the last time I used a powder highlighter. It was probably a NARS one, just to show you guys what it looked like, because I remember they sent me some recently. But other than that, I love to just use like my cream highlighters on the peaks of my cheekbone whenever I need it. It's unbelievable how you transition as you age, because I honestly remember staying away from cream products so much because I thought it's going to make my skin look greasy, because I was dealing with combination, like slightly more on the oily side, like I'd have breakouts and stuff. So I would really stay away from like cream liquid highlighters, cream blushes. I'd stick to the powder because I wanted everything to look opaque and matte, you know? And it's crazy how over the last few years, I've really transitioned into kind of ditching the powders and going straight in with the creamy liquid stuff. It's pretty crazy. I never thought I'd get there, but here we are. Honestly, I think the other thing is like not having to feel like I'm doing everything every day, and that is to do with makeup. Like at 45, I have learned that my skin has changed, and so should my habits, you know? So as I'm going along, I'm learning how to maneuver skin differences and how things look on me, because it's not so much even just that, oh, my texture has changed or my skin type has changed. It's my face is changing, you know? So there's more hollowness in certain areas, there's slightly more sagging in certain areas, there's fine lines in certain areas that I didn't have before, you know? So every day is kind of like me adapting to this new look that I have and working with it and making the most of it as much as I can. So there are certain habits that I'm gonna have to ditch because they just don't serve me the way that they used to serve me. That kind of goes with anything, not even just makeup. I would say in general in life, that is the case. I also wouldn't say it's about doing less for the sake of it. It's really about doing what works for you at that time. So there you have it. Those are my habits and techniques that have earned a place in my routine for 2026. And thrown in a few that I'm going to be leaving behind. If any of these actually resonated with you, I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. And actually, I would love to know what you are going to be taking forward into this year with you in the comments. And I would like to know from you what you are going to be leaving behind in 2025. I know you don't always see me responding to questions, guys, but I do read them because I like to respond via videos. So I don't always get the chance to actually sit there and type for you guys because I'm constantly filming. Trust me, if you guys knew my schedule, you would know I am literally filming all the time for you guys. Filming, editing, that's all I do. So I don't have the time to actually sit and reply to comments, but I just want to say that I'm very, very grateful for all of your comments and all the support that you've given me over the years. And I just want you to know that I really, really do appreciate your support and your comments and your engagement and like everything that you guys do. And I see some of you actually responding to newbies on here, like maybe they've asked a question and you guys already know that, yeah, she usually uses this, or she said this in a previous video, and you let them know. And I just want you to know that I see you and I really appreciate that from you. It really does help me out. You cannot even imagine. So the fact that I do these videos for you and you guys actually do that is almost like you guys just paying me back. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily monetary, but I really appreciate what you do. So please do let me know, what are you actually taking forward into 2026 and what have you left behind in 2025? I'm interested to know. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so that you don't miss my next video, because they can very easily be missed. So please do those 3 things and it will really help this channel out, and it will also keep you informed. And don't forget to subscribe to the Beauty Breakfast Club so you can ask me any questions directly. I'm going to love you and leave you and see you on the next video.